Welcome to Stanislaus Football Weekly, and now for your hosts, Joe Cortez and Brian VanderBeek.
Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Joe, that's Brian, and we're joined by Ron Agostini, and we are 3/3 of the Modesto B Sports Department.
Big finish.
Big finish. We're
Big
all
finish,
here.
all
the gang's
three.
all here. Hail, hail. And I was just down in Southern California where I watched Central Catholic defeat St. Margaret's of San Juan Capistrano to win a third consecutive Division IV state championship. Did you guys watch on TV?
I did. That was an awful backdoor cover. I mean, 2 touchdowns in the last 14 seconds.
Yeah, they were
great,
they were dumping Gatorade and monkeying around on the sideline. Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to watch it, Joe, but what a feat, huh? To win 3 straight state titles.
Mm-hmm.
What a feat.
Win out of 47 games they played in 3 years.
Yeah, as you pointed out in the newsroom, that's almost 5 seasons crammed into 3.
Yeah.
That's a lot of football.
Amazing.
For those young guys. With the third state title, they become the Raiders become the only other team to do that. The other is De La Salle, the national Goliath, which won 4 in a row from 2009 to 2012, and won
their 6th.
Won their 6th overall last weekend, Saturday, after Central had wrapped up. But yeah, just a wonderful performance. It was a shame that Justin Rice, the 2,000-yard running back, couldn't go. Mm-hmm. Could you tell, Brian, watching, that he was injured?
Well, we knew. We knew going in, and so he looked for it. Mm-hmm. And so maybe he wasn't quite as quick on the edge. Maybe he wasn't quite as powerful up the middle. We didn't know how much to attribute that to St. Margaret's. But because I knew he was injured, I looked for it, and I could tell a little bit.
You could tell there was a little.
Had I not known, maybe not. Maybe not. It wasn't that noticeable, but give credit to the kid for playing under what had to be pretty tough pain with that meniscus.
Yeah, he told me when I went down on the sideline toward the end of the game, I asked him, and he said it hurt worse than he had imagined it would.
Yeah.
You know, he came out in the second half in street clothes, but
That game wasn't as close as the score, was it?
No. I could tell after the first possession, Central Catholic was going to win that game. You could just tell that they could do what they wanted to do.
Oh, the line surge was amazing. I mean, when St. Margaret's was getting a stop on the run, it was 3 and 4 yards downfield.
Right.
So it was overpowering performance. Very similar to the previous 2 wins down there, where they're just that much better, that much stronger than their opponent.
Absolutely.
3 lopsided wins in the state final, pretty much.
So what we're going to do, since we're fresh out of football games to look forward to, we're going to look back at the coaches polls, the preseason coaches polls, and see how our coaches did here. Yeah. And let's start with the Valley Oak League, where Central Catholic was the pick to win the Valley Oak League title. They didn't do it. They finished 3rd.
Yeah. They had the order. The coaches had Central 1st, Oakdale 2nd, Manteca 3rd, and Sierra 4th, followed by the rest. And it ended up swapping almost directly opposite of that, was Sierra and Oakdale sharing the title, Sierra getting the number 1 seed, Central Catholic 3rd, and Manteca 4th.
Everybody knew it was going to be those 4 teams.
Right.
I think that was the given.
Yeah.
There was some thought as to what the order would be.
Yeah.
And those teams were pretty close.
Yes, absolutely.
I wonder how many third-place teams have won state titles, Joe.
That's a good question. Let's get our research department on that. Huh?
We need to dig into that a little bit.
Right.
That was the best race of the season, I thought, in the Valley Oak League.
That's a great
season.
It was a great race.
Yeah.
And it not only did it produce a state champion, but a really good run there with Manteca and Sierra, and Oakdale all
getting to the
there.
NorCal regional.
Basically
Oakdale.
beating each other, down the stretch.
Right.
We're going to find in this that most of the coaches actually did a pretty good job of picking for instance, in the MMC and the CCC, with the exception of just 2 teams flopping, all the coaches got it directly right. MMC, the coaches picked Downey, then Grigori, Modesto, Enoch, Spire, Davis, and that's how it finished, with the exception of the swap of the 2 and 3. The coaches picked Grigori 2 and Modesto 3, and Modesto 2, Grigori 3. Other than that, they had it spot on.
Same in the CCC. They pretty much had the order right, except for Pittman.
Right.
The coaches picked Pittman
5th.
5th or 6th? 5th, I'm sorry.
5th, yeah.
5th. And Pittman, of course, jumped over to 3rd place. Other than that, the CCC coaches were spot on.
Yeah.
I think we got sandbagged a little bit on Pittman. Everybody thought Pittman was going to be really young, and we were told it was going to be a rebuilding year. And
But they
dynamite.
opened with that victory over Downey, as you remember, right? So that kind of
that
opened some
19-point
eyes.
comeback. Yeah, it did. But in the preseason, everybody was saying rebuilding year for Pittman High.
Yeah. Well, in the TVL, they kind of missed. Big time.
Yes.
The
Big
TVL
time
was a mess.
Because the coaches picked Ripon to win it, and Ripon had some major personnel problems right off the bat.
And
did
very
Hillmar.
and very young.
As did Hillmar, who
Yeah.
they picked to finish second. Escalon third, Modesto Christian fourth, followed by Houston and Riverbank, and everything got flopped. Modesto Christian, of course, ran the table in the TVL, followed by Escalon, Houston, Ripon, Hillmar, and yes, they did pick Riverbank to finish last. And this is their last year, right? Last year as a non-independent.
Right, they go independent in 2015.
That's the
Yeah.
power of a good coach too, Brian,
Yeah.
with Mike Parsons.
Mike
coming
Parsons
back.
returning to Modesto Christian, one of the really good stories in football this year. The WAC, they got it wrong too, because nobody really thought that Los Banos would come up. They picked Los Banos to finish third. The coaches picked Patterson to win it, followed by Pacheco, Los Banos, Central Valley, Ceres, Livingston, El Cap. And Los Banos, of course, leapfrogged everybody to go undefeated in the
That
WAC.
was a surprise, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the WAC coaches picked Livingston to finish 6th.
Yeah.
Livingston finished 5th, but I think they were expecting Livingston not to do what it did. Livingston had a really good year,
Yeah.
and they just kind of ran out of gas right at the end.
Yeah. Well, technically they tied for fourth because they had the three-way tie for fourth in the WAC. But yeah, they got the fifth seed out of there.
Yeah, reminder that Patterson also won that coach's vote, I think, by 1 vote. It was a really tight vote.
Yeah.
So the votes were divided there.
And we thought it was going to be Patterson Pacheco. We kind of assumed that as well.
We did.
I know I did.
We did, and that's how we chose what games we were going to cover early. And of course, our colleague, we didn't have to cover Los Banos. Our colleague David Woody did such a terrific job for us with the Los Banos Enterprise down there. The Southern League coaches actually were pretty good, picking Mariposa and LeGrand to finish 1-2 as they did. And they did. Ripon Christian ends up finishing third, followed by Agostini in a great year. Agostini picked to finish 7th. And a really good job at Agostini and to finish fourth in the.
They whiffed on Waterford though. They picked Waterford in a third place tie. Waterford finished last place in the Southern League.
Yeah. It was kind of easy for the coaches to pick the Mother Lode League this year.
Right, with the big invader from the VOL coming in.
That was a snap.
So they picked Sonora to finish first, followed by Calaveras, Amador, Argonaut. And a little bit of a shake-up there because Sonora finished first, followed by Amador, Calaveras. Somerville sneaks into fourth. Argonaut slips from the third place prediction down to 5th, followed by Linden and Bret Hart, the way they thought it was going to be. But the coaches who didn't get anything right. We go to our smallest league.
CCAA.
How do you pick that though? Because
it's tough.
It's very tough because of such small groups down there. They picked Brookside to win it, and they finished third. They picked Big Valley to finish second. They finished 6th. Stone Ridge ends up finishing second, but Jim Elliott, who they picked to finish 4th, ended up winning.
Yeah. And then Stone Ridge, who they picked to finish 3rd, wins the section title.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously the smaller. I think this shows too the pattern. The larger the group, the more established the programs, the easier it is to pick this. And like I said, most of the coaches got it right, but some of them failed miserably.
So they missed on Central Catholic, but in essence they got it right.
Yes.
They go and win the state championship. And you know what? Central Catholic's going to be good next year.
Well, the question is, you had the prediction at the end of your notes column on Saturday's paper.
Yes.
Fans predicting a return for the 4th.
Well, not fans.
Well, that's the coach's daughter.
Ali Canipo. As I was leaving the stadium, she says, "See you next year." And I turned around and asked her if she was calling it. She says, "I'm calling it."
What did she mean, that you'd show up at a Central Catholic game next year, or that?
No, she meant same place.
Well, they're going to play them in Sacramento.
You
the bowl final is what you're talking about there.
What do you think of the state finals coming to Sacramento? Sac State.
It's fine. It's not a hotel stay for us, It's like a little mini vacation. We drive down there, we get a nice hotel stay, but it'll be nice. Yeah. It'll be nice to not have to.
The question I have: what do you think? You got to see the state bowls and how they're set up and how they're run for the first time.
Correct.
In person. Mm-hmm. What was your impression of that?
How it's set up?
Yeah, how it's set up and just how they treat the kids and the atmosphere.
I think it's phenomenal. Now we talked last week about how there was some not special moments in
Yes.
the NorCal D2 final.
Yes.
But down there at Carson, it's top shelf all
It's
the way.
first class all the way.
It's
It really
a first
is.
class operation.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
venue, I love that venue for high school football. There's no track.
There's no
You're
track.
Nice and low.
They don't have a true football clock there.
Right.
There's no down and distance clock.
They did, but it was torn down. They'd used, actually had a scoreboard at one end that had a video board that they repurposed and had to
Okay.
use that. But
Well, I
that was
didn't-
down and under construction. So they just had an auxiliary board for you down there. But,
Right.
Down and distance helps.
I wish they'd had a press conference. I wish they'd ushered kids into a room,
Yeah.
but they just let you kind of mill about the field
As they try to
and,
push you
and,
off.
and just sort of grab guys that you need to talk to. That's sometimes difficult to find a guy that you
Yeah.
want to talk to, just like a normal high school game.
Yeah.
But overall, no, it was a
Yeah.
great experience. It's a
Yeah.
great venue. The weather was fine.
Yes.
And hopefully Sacramento State is just as nice.
Well, it's nice we won't have to go as far because our Stanislaus district and section teams have done very well over the years.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
In
you were
Carson,
looking at that.
We've had eight teams from the section have won the state championship since the format started
Right.
in '08. The Stanislaus district has won 5.
Mhm.
Central Catholic, Escalon, and LeGrand.
No,
No,
Escalon and Modesto Christian.
That's right, Modesto
And
Christian.
then the 3
Central
And-
Central Catholic
Yes.
titles.
Yeah.
The district is 5-3 in state finals. Also 5 runner-up finishes for the section. And overall the section is 8-8 in state finals.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Right.
You know, Saturday night or Friday night when I was there, I watched Central Catholic
Mhm.
obviously win, and then I sat there and filed my story. And while I was filing, Folsom was just kicking tail right there in front of me. Sac Joaquin section went 2-0 Friday night.
Well, and we're a couple missed extra points from having going 5-0 in NorCal with
That's
Camp
right.
Lindo. But
If Clayton Valley makes its extra points,
Clayton Valley, yeah,
it's a NorCal sweep.
that's right.
It's a NorCal sweep.
Yeah.
What do you make of the North's domination this year?
Well,
The South had some confusion as to how it seeds teams into the postseason and into the bowl situation, which was pointed out by some of our Southern California counterparts as a way to maybe take away from the NorCal's dominance this year. But this is only the second time the NorCal's gone 4-1 in this, and we'll take it as we
You
head
bet.
into NorCal.
You bet.
Right.
Mike Pulaski on TV was giving his take on why that's true there towards the end of the De La Salle game. He made some pretty good points. A lot of these teams from the South have been moving up into the open
Yes.
divisions.
Right.
We haven't seen that quite to that much extent in the North.
Well,
because we've got De La Salle,
We've
we've got the
placed
big,
there.
we've
Yeah.
got the big gorilla.
yeah. I have one prediction for next year as they move to Northern California: better crowds. I mean,
Right.
You
they
think
had
so?
the 2 days. The 2 days down at Carson at the StubHub Center drew what, 14,000? Was that the final number?
I only saw the first night's
Yeah.
number.
I think it was like 5,000 the first night.
5,100 the first night.
Yeah, and the rest, 14,000 total over the 2 nights. I think they could come close, maybe to doubling that.
Really?
At Sac State. NorCal fans travel better, and the trouble is the Southern California fans aren't going to come up.
Right.
As we've seen
right.
that in
They don't come to
They don't come to basketball.
they don't come to Carson.
Right. They don't. And I just think Northern California is going to support this the next 3 years better than Southern California ever has.
I'll tell you, the Central Catholic crowd really traveled.
Yes.
When
they
I
do.
came back from filing my game story, it was about 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I walked through the lobby of the Marriott South Torrance. Central Catholic fans had taken over that hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every 30 seconds you'd hear, "How about those Raiders?" They were just celebrating like crazy.
Well, you look
it
at
was a lot of fun.
two of the resident powers in the state, Central Catholic and De La Salle.
Yeah.
That's 9 state titles.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be closer to home playing these
Yeah.
games.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I saw that too, actually, with Oakdale and Sarah a couple of years ago in the game that Oakdale lost. Sarah of Gardenia. Oakdale had more people in that stadium than Sarah did. Sarah campus is 5 miles away.
Right.
Amazing.
5 miles
Yeah.
away.
So you know they're not coming to.
They're not coming
they're not
here.
coming up north.
No, they're
But
not.
if the CIF promotes it the way they can, the way they should here in the section and throughout Northern California, they'll get very, very good crowds at Sac State. Good venue.
You heard it.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
He called it, just like Ali Canepa.
That's right. She'll see you there.
That's right. She will. Hey, this is probably our last show. We're thinking about doing an all-district show when that team is announced, when we put our heads together and get that all squared away. We may do a show there. There will be some word on the website as to that. But this, as we film this, it's December 23, so we want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry
Before
Christmas,
I let you
everyone.
guys go, I want one more bit of info. What's your favorite Christmas carol?
Hark the Herald Angels Sing.
Wow, that was declarative.
Don't say Silent Night.
No, it's the Bing Crosby, David Bowie version of Little Drummer Boy.
That's great.
Done by?
Well, redone by Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. And you got to see that. You got to see that on. If you haven't seen that on
Google it.
YouTube, you Google it. It's
Google
a
it.
riot. It's a riot. Not safe for work. But go ahead.
I like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas,
There
but
you go.
I do like Billy Squires' Christmas is the Time to Say I Love You,
Yeah.
and the Ramones, It's Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight With You Tonight.
Oh,
Two great
that's
rock
classic.
Well, how about
Christmas.
Springsteen's Santa Claus is coming to town? I
Oh,
like
there you
that
go.
too. That's it.
Ronette Sleigh Ride.
Yeah.
We're getting old now.
The Ronettes.
Yeah.
The Ronettes. Aren't we the Ronettes?
Yes, we are.
There we go.
For the Ronettes, I'm Joe, that's Brian, this is the head Ronette, Ron Agostini. We will see you next year on Stanislaus Football Weekly.